everyone. Welcome back to Easy Speak English. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Emma. We're so excited to have you with us today.
Before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Easy Speak English, hit that like button, and turn on notifications.
Yes, your support really helps us create more free English lessons for you. All right, Jessica, what's our topic today?
Today, we're talking about something super important for beginners: how to introduce yourself in English.
Oh, I love this topic. You know, Jessica, I remember when I first started teaching English, my students were always so nervous about introducing themselves. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because introductions are usually the first thing you say when you meet someone, and people worry about making a good first impression.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be complicated. A good introduction is actually quite simple, right?
Absolutely. In fact, Emma, I always tell my students that a basic introduction has just three main parts. Do you know what they are?
Let me think. First, you need to give your name. That's the most important part.
Yes. And the second part?
You should say where you're from or give some background information about yourself.
Perfect. And the third part is sharing something personal, like what you do or your hobbies.
Right. So it's name, background, and personal information. Simple as that. But Jessica, how do you actually start? What's the very first word you should say?
Great question. You always start with a greeting. The most common ones are hi, hello, or even hey if you're in a casual situation.
And what about the time of day? Should you say good morning or good afternoon?
You can. Those are more formal greetings. So if you're in a professional setting, like a job interview, you might say, "Good morning. My name is Jessica Rodriguez."
But if you're at a party or a casual event, you can just say, hi, I'm Emma. Much more relaxed.
Exactly. Emma, can you give us an example of a complete casual introduction?
Sure. Hi, I'm Emma. I'm from London and I'm an English teacher. In my free time, I love painting and hiking. Nice to meet you.
That was perfect. You started with a greeting, gave your name, said where you're from, mentioned your job, and added a personal detail about your hobbies.
Thanks. Now, what about in a more formal situation? How would you introduce yourself, Jessica?
In a formal setting, I might say, "Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Rodriguez. I'm from New York and I work as an educational consultant. I specialize in language learning programs. It's a pleasure to meet you."
Oh, I noticed you used your full name there. Is that important?
Yes, in formal situations like business meetings, job interviews, or professional conferences, you should use your full name. But in casual settings, just your first name is fine.
That makes sense. So, listeners, remember, formal situations need more details and your full name, while casual situations can be shorter and more friendly.
Right. Now, Emma, after you introduce yourself, what comes next? You can't just say your name and walk away, right?
Haha, no, definitely not. After you introduce yourself, you should ask the other person about themselves. This shows you're interested and keeps the conversation going.
What are some good questions to ask?
The easiest one is, what's your name? But if they've already told you the name, you can ask, where are you from?
Those are great. What else can you ask?
You can ask, what do you do? Which means asking about their job or studies, or what do you like to do in your free time to learn about their hobbies?
Perfect. These questions are easy to remember and very useful for beginners. Now, let me ask you something, Emma. What if someone asks you a question and you don't understand?
Oh, that's so important to talk about. If you don't understand, never just smile and nod. That can lead to confusion.
Right. What should you say instead?
You can politely say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat that, please? Or could you speak more slowly?
Yes, there's no shame in asking someone to repeat themselves. It's much better than pretending you understand.
Absolutely. Now, Jessica, let's think about different situations. How would you introduce yourself at a new job on your first day?
Good question. On the first day of work, you want to be friendly but professional. I would say, "Good morning, everyone. I'm Jessica, the new marketing coordinator. I'm really excited to be part of the team. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Please feel free to stop by my desk if you need anything."
That's wonderful. You mentioned your name, your position, and you were welcoming. What about at a networking event?
At a networking event, you want to be professional but also memorable. I might say, "Hello, I'm Jessica Rodriguez. I work in educational technology, and I'm passionate about making learning accessible for everyone. I'm here to connect with other professionals in the field. What brings you here today?"
I love that you ended with the question. That really invites the other person to share about themselves.
Exactly. And what about you, Emma? How would you introduce yourself at a social event like a birthday party?
At a party, I'd be much more casual. "Hey, I'm Emma. I work with the birthday girl. We teach at the same school. Have you known her long?"
Perfect. That's friendly, gives context about how you know the host, and asks a question. Very natural.
Thanks. Jessica, I think one thing that makes people nervous is talking about themselves. What should beginners focus on when sharing personal information?
Great point. I always tell my students, keep it simple and positive. You don't share too much personal information when you first meet someone.
Right. For example, you don't need to talk about your family problems or health issues when you're introducing yourself.
Exactly. Stick to safe topics like where you're from, what you do for work or study, your hobbies, or places you've traveled.
Yes, and always try to find common ground with the person you're talking to. If they mention they like hiking and you do too, that's a great connection point.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about body language for a moment. When you're introducing yourself, it's not just about the words you say, is it?
No, not at all. Body language is super important. You should make eye contact, smile, and if it's appropriate in that culture, offer a handshake.
Yes, and speak clearly and at a moderate pace. If you speak too fast, people might not understand you, especially if English isn't their first language either.
Great advice. Also, stand or sit up straight. Good posture shows confidence.
Emma, let's practice a complete conversation. Imagine we're meeting at a coffee shop for the first time. I'll start. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?"
No, please have a seat.
"Thank you. I'm Jessica, by the way. I've never been to this coffee shop before. Do you come here often?"
Hi, Jessica. I'm Emma. Yes, I come here almost every morning. They have the best cappuccinos. Are you new to the area?
"I am. I just moved here last week for work. I'm still exploring the neighborhood. Do you live nearby?"
Yes, I live just 2 blocks away. I've been here for about 5 years. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an educational consultant. I help schools develop better learning programs. How about you?
That sounds interesting. I'm an English teacher at the local community college. I also do some private tutoring.
Oh, wow. We're both in education. What do you like most about teaching?
I love seeing my students progress and gain confidence. Teaching adults is especially rewarding. What about you? What's the best part of your job?
I love the variety. Every school is different, and I get to work with so many dedicated educators. Hey, since we're both in education and you know the area, would you want to grab coffee together sometime? Maybe you could give me some local recommendations.
I'd love that. Let me give you my phone number. We can meet here next week if you're free.
That sounds perfect. I'll text you and we can set up a time. It was really nice meeting you, Emma.
Nice meeting you too, Jessica. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, listeners, did you notice how that conversation flowed naturally?
Yes, we started with a simple greeting, introduced ourselves, asked questions about each other, found common interests, and then made plans to meet again.
That's exactly how real conversations work. You don't just introduce yourself and stop. You build on the conversation by showing genuine interest in the other person.
Right. And notice how we asked follow-up questions. When Jessica said she was an educational consultant, I didn't just say, "That's nice," and move on. I ask her more about it.
Exactly. Follow-up questions so you're listening and interested. That's what makes the conversation, not just an exchange of information.
So true. Now, before we finish, let's give our listeners some homework. Jessica, what should they practice?
Great idea. Listeners, here's your homework. Write down your own introduction in English. Include your name, where you're from, what you do, and one or two hobbies.
And then practice saying it out loud. Say it in front of a mirror, record yourself on your phone, or practice with a friend.
Yes, the more you practice, the more natural it will feel. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Absolutely. Also, try to use your introduction in real life this week. If you meet someone new, introduce yourself in English.
Perfect homework assignment. And listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment telling us where you're from and what you do. Practice your introduction with us.
All right, Emma, I think we've covered everything about introducing yourself in English. Let's do a quick recap for our listeners.
Good idea. So to introduce yourself in English, first, start with a greeting like hi or hello.
Second, give your name. Use your first name in casual situations and your full name in formal situations.
Third, share some background information, where you're from or what you do.
Fourth, add a personal detail like your hobbies or interests.
And fifth, ask the other person questions to keep the conversation going.
Perfect summary. Remember, everyone, introducing yourself doesn't have to be stressful. Keep it simple, be yourself, and show genuine interest in others. And practice, practice, practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Absolutely. All right, everyone. That's all we have for today's episode of Easy Speak English. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Easy Speak English, give us a thumbs up, and share this podcast with your friends who are learning English. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our new episodes. We post new lessons every week.
And leave us a comment. Tell us where you're from and practice introducing yourself in English. We can't wait to hear from you.
Thank you again for being part of the Easy Speak English community. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep improving.
We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.